a Raiders fan as well, and he's here to talk all about that as well in a very important election in less than 30 days. I know he's got thoughts on that as well because I want to hear what he got to say. I want him to unleash his political views on the Flex Zone, unfiltered, unbiased. The one, the only, returning back to the Flex Zone podcast, gracing us with his time, the one and only. Put your hands together. Sean Yoes, everybody.
The salt and the suave.
That's a new one. That's a new one.
That's actually a new one. That's a new one. That's new.
Wow. That's
Yoes, if you had saw me and El Crawford this past weekend, you would have saw the salt and the suave.
Oh man, I bet it was spectacular.
it
was spectacular.
It was definitely a show. Man.
I mean, y'all won 41-0.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was
I'm sure you were in your element. How many did you have around you, Dre?
Well, actually, I just partied with El Crawford on Friday. Saturday, I missed homecoming. My niece was she was in a play, so I actually missed homecoming this year.
Oh, you sound like a domesticated salt and the suave now.
Don't go get fool you, man.
Okay.
Sean, what's going on, brother? How you been? What is going on? How's the family? What's new with you, brother? How you been?
Everything's new. So I am, even though I still contribute to the Afro every once in a while, I'm not officially with the Afro. I've been gone for a few years. I ventured out on my own, and I'm making film, working on documentary films now, and so that's what I've been really focused on. More than the journalism aspect of things. As a matter of fact, I was over in DC. I was telling Dre that I was over in DC shooting all day today. So I'm tired too. But I said I would do this with y'all, have a little reunion. So I'm here and I'm happy to be here. But yeah, I've been working on documentary films for the last year. Really the last 3 years. I did a film called Eroding History, another one called The Highway to Nowhere, Baltimore's Highway to Nowhere, and I'm working on 4 short films now. So that's what I've been getting into. But as far as football, I'm clearly not in the best moods this week. Being a Raiders fan is abuse. That's abuse. I mean, you got to be a really sturdy person to have. I've been with them a long time, and so I want to hear what y'all have to say about Davante Adams and Antonio Pierce and where Davante Adams is going to go. I mean, yeah.
Well, man, so funny story. When y'all faced us a few weeks ago, it's a guy that was my algebra teacher in high school. And this man used to give me the blues in high school, man. And then it just was like even more salt on the wound when the Raiders won that game. And he had all his Raiders stuff on. I was with Unc watching that Buffalo Wild Wings. I was like, out of all people, I would run into your ass.
I was at the bank.
Yeah, he was at the bank.
Me and my Raider crew were there. I couldn't believe it. When it was the fourth quarter, and I didn't celebrate until it was about 23 seconds left, and Lamar almost took it to the house.
Yeah, that's the time he should have.
Yeah, but yeah, we got away with that one. But this up and down stuff, man. I mean, to beat the Ravens the way we did, and then the next week for us to lose to Carolina was just beyond brutal. It was really, I think that with the Raiders specifically, a lot of people believed, and I'm an optimist by default. I'm an optimistic person, so I want to believe that Antonio Pierce, on the strength of his personality and the fact that he was an All-Pro and he was a Super Bowl champion, and he had the locker room going, you wanted to believe after the Ravens win that we had maybe turned the corner. That, you know, that took, in my mind, that was the team that beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day. In my mind, that was the team that put 63 on the Chargers. But to just go from that high to the basement, losing to Carolina, getting steamrolled by Carolina, it's just like, man, this is too much, man. You know, I've never been in an abusive relationship, but this feels really abusive, man. Like,
do you think it's him losing the locker room, not having a quarterback, or what do you think? Maybe
I think
it's
it's a
curse over the
combination of
organization?
things. I think you know, Gardner Minshew's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's a very good backup quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, he started from Jacksonville, but all that Minshew mania and stuff. He hyped the dude up, but he's just not he doesn't have the tools to be a really solid starting quarterback. And in my opinion, in the NFL, I think we should have bought him on as a backup, but the kid Aiden O'Connell's not really ready. He has a nice arm, but he has no pocket presence. He can't move. So we just have a really bad situation at quarterback. Our offensive coordinator is trash, Luke Getsy. He was like our third choice. So, you know, he'll go on these tangents where it feels like the offense is kind of gelling. But then he just becomes very conservative, and he acts like he doesn't know what he's doing. He makes these really ridiculous calls, a lot of run plays on 3rd and long and screens, and just can we cuss? Can I cuss on that? On this? No.
Yeah,
You
go
sure
ahead.
can. You just showed a cuss word.
Yeah, I will cuss at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, it's really tough right now. And then Davante didn't help us, man, by just deciding he quit. You know, he don't want to play for us anymore. You know, I think from the beginning he always kind of had that he was above us kind of energy. You know, I mean, Derek Carr convinced him to come to the Raiders. Derek didn't work out, and so I think he was just really sour on the whole experience from after that point.
Now he wants to play with Derek again. So do you feel like it was just maybe like him and the Raiders? It's just that because y'all had a bad wave where Chucky comes in and you think that you're turning the tide with a new coach and it's a new era, and then that experiment doesn't end up panning out. I forgot who you guys. I forgot who you guys had. Then Antonio Pierce comes in, like you said.
It was Chucky. Then it was McDummy.
McDaniel. Then it doesn't pan out, and then like you said, now you're with Antonio Pierce, and it's just you don't know because now there's a rocky relationship with Davante Adams there.
Well, and the thing is this. I mean, Josh McDaniel. I really believe this. He poisoned our team. He should never ever be a head coach in the NFL ever again. He's that abysmal. He's not a leader of men. I'm not saying he's not. He's a solid offensive mind, I think, but I think he's overrated. I mean, they made him seem like he was an offensive genius when I don't. He had the greatest quarterback that ever lived. Mm-hmm. He had one of the greatest head coaches that ever lived. I think McDummy got exposed when he got exposed a few times. What did he do? He quit
Broncos.
He was with the Broncos.
He quit on the Colts
before even getting there.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a dubious character already, right? And he comes here, and it was almost like he literally poisoned the team. And then AP takes that same group of men, has them playing like a unit. I mean, what we did to the Chiefs on Christmas Day was a thing of beauty. Man. What we did to the Chargers was a thing of beauty. You know, I still believe in what AP's selling. I think Max Crosby believes in it. Max basically put his career on the line to make sure that AP became the permanent head coach. But we've had a lot of injuries. We've got 2 trash quarterbacks, or at least 1.5 trash quarterbacks. We have a trash offensive coordinator. We kind of have a trash offensive line. It's a little bit better now that we put the kid in, the rookie Jackson. But it's rough. We got some offensive weapons. This kid Brock Bowers, I think, is going to be an All-Pro probably by next year, if not this year.
No,
I know he leads all. He leads like all rookie
tight ends
in reception.
Brock Bowers, yeah.
Yeah, he had 9 he had 9 or 10 yesterday. He had 9 against the Ravens. He's a stud. He's a serious stud. So we have some upside. We have some things, but you know, it's going to be tough against the Steelers. Now, okay, yeah, I'm tired of talking. Who is Davante Adams? Who are we going to trade him to?
Well, breaking news, apparently he will be on Kay Adams' show tomorrow. So there may be some more investigation. But apparently, Sean, the holdup is the Jets were in London. The Saints are playing right now on Monday. So it's kind of slow right now as those teams are kind of busy. But it seems like he wants to play with Derek Carr, who's just on his back, so he may be hurt. And Aaron Rodgers, who looks like a geriatric quarterback anyway. I mean, that's really the only 2 options it looks like.
Well, I heard that the Steelers were making an aggressive push for Davante Adams.
But he wants to play with somebody he's familiar with.
You think he wants to play with those quarterbacks, Sean? You seen Justin Fields last night?
Oh, I wouldn't.
Yeah, you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there.
He said, no, not me. I would.
I'm gonna be real.
Look, I wish he would come with us.
I'm gonna be real with you, Sean. I'm gonna be real with you. Who he should go to if he's going to leave the Raiders should be the Baltimore Ravens, because we are the best option for him to come to right now.
Who do we get?
What would you get? You get a draft pick.
We get a second,
maybe a second or a third. We're
asking for a second and a player. You know,
and they want the Raiders to pay for the contract because he's owed $35 million in the next year.
Got the perfect player for you. You can have Brandon Stevens. You can take him. I'll give rap to you.
Hey,
you don't want him, no,
he can have Ron Stanley.
Who?
He can have Ron. No, he can have Ronnie Stanley.
Ron messed up on too much on the offensive line.
We just scored 40 points yesterday.
The guy that was getting burned all over the field yesterday. You can have him. We'll gift wrapping to you.
Sean, we just scored 41 and they talking about they want another receiver. How spoiled are these guys?
I mean, where's he gonna? So Davante, man, I think I don't know if he. I mean,
he wants the ball.
Yeah, I think honestly, I mean, Davante is probably a Hall of Famer. Pretty sure. I mean, if he has, I think he's a Hall of Famer. He's a great player. He goes through these spells where he has some drops though, which are maddening. But I feel like if we had a plausible offensive coordinator, we would do better without Davante, only because at this point we're trying to force everything through him.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got a lot of offense. I mean, that kid Trey Tucker is nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that kid Brock Bowers is going to be an All-Pro, like I said earlier. We have Jacoby Myers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have there's another kid that we have. There's a kid that we picked up, undrafted free agent, McAllister, who's got some talent too. So we've got some pieces on offense, and quite frankly, you know what I think, and this is what is strange to me. I have not seen anybody make this observation. To me, Brock Bowers reminds me of AJ Brown. Like he's a tight end technically, but I mean he can move around and play base. He can play the slot. He can play out wide. He can play fullback. He can play half. He can do anything. And that boy, I mean, he has a nose for the ball, and he has crazy like yards after the catch. So he's really a multi-dimensional player. And instead of locking him in as a tight end, I mean, you can even lock him in, run him out of a 2 tight end set, obviously. But he can run from just about any offensive position on the field. So instead of maybe having a traditional one receiver, maybe he's our one. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. I just think Davante, man, it's just like if he's not getting the ball, he's all sassy, he's all in his feelings and stuff. And it's just the energy just is not, it's not good for the team as a whole and the offense in particular. Now he could go to Baltimore and he could really connect with Lamar, you know. But I don't even know. Do y'all need him? I mean,
no,
Sean, they just
Yes,
scored 40
yes,
points without him.
yes,
no,
yes.
I don't see it.
no.
We need a number one. We need a true number one wide receiver.
Well,
And you
I
want to know
thought
why?
what Flowers isn't. I mean, he may not be a one, but he's pretty
we need a
nice.
number one. We need a number one because I'm gonna tell you why we need a number one. We seen it last season. Why we need a number one when we because every time we get into the playoffs, they want to abandon the run and try to pass the ball all over the field. Bunch of receivers is covered. There is no Zay Flowers. There is no Bateman. There was no OBJ because OBJ is not a number one anymore. You need a true number one to take the pressure off of everybody else.
Now, ain't Davante Adams though. You don't need Davante Adams though. Needing number one and needing Davante Adams is not the same thing.
Give me Davante
but if you have a Davante Adams, it helps out. Like you saw Zay. That's why Zay last year was able to go off because having OBJ there, it's a distraction, and then it allows somebody like a Zay Flowers to go off.
Do you think a guy that wants the ball as much as Davante Adams is going to thrive in Baltimore?
Yes.
Because
he wants to win.
Especially with that run game that they have the run game that they got.
On the show. It was a show that he did, a radio show that he did. I don't know if it was Kay Adams or whoever, but he said they asked him, they was like, would you rather play with Lamar Jackson, who you might get 850 yards, or would you rather go get your typical 1,200, 1,300 yards? He was like, I'd rather win. He's like, at this point in my career,
that sounds good. Let's be honest.
I want a championship.
That sounds good. It sounds good. But in
he said the opposite. He said the opposite thing last year. He said when we were losing games, and he said, "Well, I'm not." It was a game that he came off of where he had a lot of drops. And he said, "Well, I'm not really concerned with wins and losses. I'm concerned with greatness." I mean, what kind of ego?
If he wanted to win, his ass would be on the field as he should have been yesterday. He ain't hurt.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
He is. You don't want. Why would you bring that type of energy to?
I don't want him, Cavante.
And your locker room. Why would you bring that type of? And you already don't have a leader in the Ravens locker room, and you bring in a toxic Davante Adams. I just don't think the optics don't work out. Like on paper, sure, but the optics. Let's be real. He's a disgruntled wide receiver. And you know what you do with disgruntled wide receivers? You get rid of them. It's quick, fast, in a hurry. Now, who's willing to give up a 2 for Davante Adams is the question. Because you also got to take on his contract unless they're working something out with the Raiders, whereas though the Raiders still play half or something like that. But who's giving up a 2?
So like we were literally asking for like a 2. Like if we traded him to the Jets, we were asking for like a 2. And the kid, Wilson.
Ooh, Jesus Christ.
That's what we were asking for. Now, will we get that? I don't know. But that's what we were asking
bring that draft pick down if y'all getting Wilson. God dog.
So, I mean, Davante, when he's on, he's legit. On. I mean, he's a beast when he's on. But he's been really inconsistent. He shows up big some games and other games, he's just those drops, man. Damn, that's the worst. That's the worst when you have one who drops like 3 or 4 balls in a game. That's crazy.
Can I ask you about a picture real quick, Sean? Can I ask you your thoughts on this real quick?
Sure.
I just want to know your thoughts. I know because how do you feel about this picture right here? Just the other day.
Who is that?
That's your owner.
I know.
That's Mark Davis.
I know that. Well, who's the cat with him?
That's Shador Sanders.
Oh, I mean,
do you like the young brother? I mean, he's balling out in college. Colorado doing the thing.
He's nice. I mean, I just I wonder about taking. I mean, obviously we're still gun shy off of Jamarcus Russell. taking him at one, and him being
yikes.
one of the biggest busts that ever in the history of the NFL. I'm not likening him to Shedeur Sanders, but there's just no guarantees with kids coming out. I mean, Jaden Daniels looks phenomenal. The kid Stroud looks phenomenal. The kid in Carolina, not so much. So it's just a gamble, man. I would love to see Shedeur Sanders come to the Raiders and ball the fuck out. That would be dope. But how do we know, man? How do we know? Oh my God. It would be great though. I mean, what is he doing? What is he doing right now? Because I don't pay attention to college.
I think he's 4-1 right now.
They only got one loss. He's a beautiful pocket passer. He doesn't run much, but he can throw that ball.
Well, we need that. But I know he can run.
He can run a little bit, but he's not. He's not super fast or anything. But he has a beautiful arm. Like, he makes the correct plays. If you give him a line, he can play the part. But the brother right now is balling out though for Colorado.
Either him or, if you haven't heard his name, Sean, and I'm gonna put it out there, Cam Ward from Miami. He's rising.
Really Cam Ward, yeah,
he is balling out. Another brother that can do his thing. I'm just putting him out. Another brother. So just putting it out there. He's gonna be drafted really high. Just putting it out.
If they had the offensive coach, I would say that one guy who's like kind of similar to Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm talking about, Byron. He we had talked about him. He's only first. He got a long way to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they'll be drafting for a while anyway.
Let me ask y'all a question real quick. I remember when Hugh Jackson was our coach, and he specifically went after Jason Campbell, former Redskins / Commander quarterback, got him, built the offense around him. And the Raiders were looking like a playoff team until he got hurt. And that's when Hugh Jackson lost his mind and traded for Carson Palmer, gave the store away, and just
y'all did give away the house.
But for that one shining moment, Jason Campbell, with the offense built around him, our offense was really, really solid. Our defense was solid, and we were a good team. I mean, what do you see coaches now, or coaches and or offensive coordinators building offenses specifically around players, or is it just the player has to fit into the system or scheme that the offensive coordinator comes up with?
I think you can. The interesting thing about that is we see it when the quarterback does well or when he fails. You could see who really takes the time to build an offense around what they do well instead of trying to fit a square peg into a circle. I think that's what happened in Carolina. The guy who he had, Frank Wright, who's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, got canned after 11 games, 12 games or something like that. You're destroying not only Frank Wright. 11 games is absurd. Like, I don't care how bad the season was. Like, 11 games is kind of crazy. Unless he was on some like Urban Meyer type of stuff. I think Frank Wright deserved that.
Not Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer was wild. Let's be honest. Urban Meyer was wilding. But Frank Wright didn't deserve that. But now you set your rookie quarterback, even more so, because I think Frank Wright had a plan for Bryce Young, but you now Bryce Young is 3 steps behind because you fired his coach midway through the season. I think what Cliff Kingsbury is doing with Jaden Daniels is absolutely amazing. Is an example of, if you take the time to construct an offense around your young quarterback, this is the potential of it. But
Kingsbury was our first choice of offense coordinator, and he at the last minute he decided to go somewhere else, go to the Commanders.
Yeah,
I don't blame him.
Jaden Daniels. I mean, but the talk was that we were gonna do everything in our power to get Jaden Daniels, but when it came down to it, the price was just too high.
and y'all won too many games. But
Yeah.
to
Adam
answer,
Peters wasn't coming off that.
but yeah, to answer your question though, I mean, I think we've seen it here with Lamar Jackson. He was your typical quarterback that ran the football, and I think our offensive coordinator at the time was Marty Morningwig,
Mm.
and we was coming from having Joe Flacco for the last 10 years. We were a certain type of way. We were pretty much throwing the football all over the field at times, and as soon as he got hurt, it was like, oh my God, we have to pivot to Lamar now because Lamar, plays totally different. And I remember that first season watching Lamar Jackson, and we would just run the football like almost every down. Like we would not throw the ball at all. I think he threw for like 1,000 yards, and that was it. But like every play was a run play. And the second year we got we had Greg Roman on the staff, but he was promoted to offensive coordinator for the second year. But he kind of much put of course he has a typical running style, but he knows how to incorporate the pass. Maybe not all the way, but he incorporates it. But he played, more towards Lamar's strengths at the time, which was running the football constantly. So I think, as time grew on, of course, Lamar, developed even more. But I think starting out, you need somebody like a Greg Roman or, somebody who, for your quarterback to grow with and know their deficiencies and how they can, get better. But yeah, I think all that plays in the part though. Like you got to have the right people around that person in order for them to get better. I mean, look at what we watching now with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes came into a perfect situation where he was able to sit behind Alex Smith for an entire season. Didn't play at all. Second season, as soon as Alex Smith was out of there, the second season or his second season, I think he was the MVP, I believe, of the year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but he's a generational talent also.
But I mean,
but nobody knew about that though. No, he was unknown. It was like, who is this guy?
You had to watch. Unless you watch college football, but he played. I think the last game or two,
yeah,
and then after that, that's when they knew. They was like, yeah, we know that this is the guy. It's got to be a combination of everything. It's got to be the right owner. It's got to be the right coach, the right situation. Like and all those things, don't happen overnight. I mean, you got Jalen Hurts and how that situation happened with the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, you just have to. Houston is a prime example. Them number 2 picks lately. They've been the ballers out of because them number 1s haven't really. Well, Caleb Williams, we still got some.
He's starting to get it together, Dre.
He's starting.
He looked good Sunday. He looked pretty good.
But I mean, it's got to be the right combination.
Mm. Okay.
Sean, can we pivot before we get you out of here? I know you tired. But
we got.
Go ahead, Dre. What's up?
I about to say before you pivot, I do got to ask him real quick. Are you were going to pivot to politics or to the Orioles?
I don't really want to talk about the Orioles. I talked about them enough over and out. Check it out on the channel. But go ahead, Dre.
I got to ask Yoes, what my Yankees, we in there, but I mean the Orioles. How do you feel about the Orioles these past couple?
What do you mean? What I think about what? I mean, I posted the other day. I was like, I've followed these cats for decades, man. Decades. And they are just pure, unadulterated chokers. How do you do that to your fan base? I mean, just choke.
I agree, Sean. I agree.
Choke. How do you battle the Yankees all season long and then literally just fall apart at the end of the year and then go into the playoffs and get unceremoniously swept? It's crazy. They did the same thing last year. Everybody was all hyped thinking, oh, they're going to do this. And they just went out like clowns. So I don't know if it's just in sports, period, but in baseball, there's a certain mentality, man, that you got to have. And I don't know if it's and sometimes it can be instilled in the team by the manager, and other times it's just the mentality of the team itself. the chemistry of the team. These guys just, when it comes down to it, playoff baseball is a whole nother animal. And you got to be tough. You got to have that. You have to have that pitching in all aspects of it, starting, bullpen. I used to trip out when I was a kid. I would watch the World Series every year. And it always seemed like the teams that made it to the end always had these phenomenal pitching staffs. So there's a reason for that. They had great starters. Everybody had these sparkling numbers. And that's what wins baseball, pitching and defense and timely hitting. I mean, I think that equation still it's still plausible. It still makes sense. And I don't know but there's also another component, an intangible component, and that's heart. And this team, when it comes to the playoffs, no, man, I don't know if is it Brandon Hyde or is it just the kids themselves? I mean, if you can scrap during the season, how come you can't pull it together during the playoffs? I don't understand it. I really don't understand it.
I can't blame Brandon Hyde for this season. Well, for this playoff run. I mean, he put the perfect pitches out there, and they could not hit anything.
Well, the Orioles also had opportunities to make moves and didn't.
No, they didn't. Yeah. So it didn't.
Well, they made the wrong moves. Let's just say that. They made moves, just some of the wrong. I don't think they have a leader, Sean. I don't think they have a leader.
That's strange, man. They got some guys who can play. Santander. How you pronounce that?
Santander.
Him.
Yeah, I like him.
Well, he's a free agent, so he may be gone.
Gunner.
Dang, they ain't gonna play that Spanish music at the park no more now.
Mullins was the only run, Sean. 1 run in 2 games is unacceptable. They got the pitching and the defense. They couldn't score runs. I can't put that on high. They don't have a dog in the
right. They lost. What they lost 1-0 and 2-1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also remember Batista was hurt this year, so they didn't have their closer.
Right.
But like you said, Yoes, you gotta have all 3 components. You can't just depend solely on the closer. And then the bats just weren't hitting. So
it's called a choke.
For the last 10 years.
Young team, but they need something to get them over there. And I feel kind of bad too for y'all, the last manager that you guys had, because it's like he always gets the teams right and then they just fire him. It's true. I can't think of y'all last manager.
Buck is done. Buck is the game is past Buck by. He gone.
Buck.
Buck Showalter.
Buck
Showalter.
Buck was good for you.
I love Buck Showalter.
Did you see what he did with the Mets last year, Dre? And look at the Mets now. He's done.
Yeah, that's true.
Not you take it over.
At least he loves his guys.
Byron, now that's a perfect transition to
well, speaking of taking somebody to the shed, Joe Biden, he's getting taken to the shed by the Democratic Party because he done. Kamala tags in, she subs in. Sean, we got to ask you, man, less than 30 days. What the hell is going on with the United States of America, and where are we headed?
You gonna ask me what the hell's going on with the United States of America? Is that what you gonna ask me? Man,
what did you used to say, Yoes? You used to say something about Trump, and me and Yori laugh about that all the time. We were trying to get the phrase right, but
you could there could be 10,000 things. I mean, look, man. Look, I mean, you know, I've heard people say, I've heard actually several women, not several, a couple of women comment about Kamala and about, oh, I don't trust her, and this, that, and the other. Okay, you know, she's a former DA. You know what? I get it. You know, people's personal styles can rub people the wrong way. Okay, I understand that. But what's Magic? Oh, what's he doing? Oh, there's
getting people to vote for Kamala, Sean.
Oh yeah. Look, I think I'm be real about it. When she was the district attorney in San Francisco, I remember seeing her and thinking, wow, she looks like she's going to do something. She had some charisma. She's obviously a very good looking woman. But she had some charisma, and the way she came off was, to me, I didn't know anything about her politics, but I'm pretty good at spotting political talent. And she came off very well to me. And I was like, she's going to be something. She's going to be a star. So she moved through the ranks, became Attorney General for California, had some controversies, but had some wins also. When she then she went to the Senate. I'm like, okay, she's on a trajectory. When she did those hearings, she looked really solid. She was lighting them dudes up, man. Bill Barr, the Supreme Court hearings of Kavanaugh. I mean, she lit them jokers up, and she looked very strong. She becomes vice president, and anybody who knows about politics and civics knows that can be a very difficult spot for an aspiring politician to be in, because you operate at the pleasure, at the whim of the president. And if the president decides to stick you in a shit job, that's where you're going to be. And you're not going to have the opportunity to shine and do the things that you want to do in order for your career to, evolve. So she got jammed up, and her record as Attorney General was not in an alignment with the law enforcement reform movement, the murder of George Floyd. All those things kind of were a confluence that really did her in politically. And so she was kind of really stuck in the back with a lousy 32% approval rating. But as soon as she got the ball when Biden stepped down, could you imagine if Joe Biden was still the candidate for president? I mean, he literally, look, I'm gonna be real with you about this too. I ain't never been a Joe Biden fan, ever. Because I remember him in when he was a senator, and he was one of the architects of the crime bill. I mean, he was always in bed with the segregationists. I mean, this is a cat who's been in politics for more than 50 years. So I've never been a Joe Biden fan. I think Jim Clyburn saved his life, because he would have wound up losing a third presidential run if it hadn't been for Clyburn going to bat for him in South Carolina and turning everything around. Okay, so I've never been a Joe Biden fan, but could you imagine what it would be like if this man, who he's struggling, if he had been in the chair, the Democrats would have been absolutely destined to lose to Donald Trump. But I say all that to say about Biden, as badly as Biden is struggling, Donald Trump, I mean, what politician have you ever heard of who has gotten the opportunity to do the thing? I mean, name one transgression that Donald Trump has laid out. It would have killed the career of just about any politician that's ever lived. Just one. And this nigga does this every single day. Every day. Donald Von Schitzenpants. Every single day. What he said, she was mentally deranged. They're eating the cats and dogs. How can that not kill a career? I mean, come on, man. Look, if you, I see. Here's the thing, brother. Seriously, I'm not an ideologue, and I'm not. Believe it or not, I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I voted for Republicans. I voted for Larry Hogan. I'll say it publicly. I voted for Larry Hogan. I voted for Bob Ehrlich. I don't have a problem with Republicans per se, but Donald Trump's not a Republican. He's not a conservative.
He's a different breed.
He's MAGA. And so if you and I understand parties go through growing pains, and they change and they evolve and they grow and do all those things. But at the end of the day, you can't. There's something inherently unfair with deciding you want to put somebody in a chair who doesn't understand how a democracy operates. it's just you can't. And you know, I'm not. You know, if you want to change the rules in midstream, and what it feels like to me is that the people who back, and I'll say specifically, the vast majority of his backers who happen to be white, it feels like because they don't have the country that they want, they'd rather just burn the whole shit down. That's what it feels like. And I'm like, that's a damn lie, because our people built the country. And you don't get to burn the country down because you don't like how things are going. So I don't feel like arguing about politics. I don't feel like going back and forth, because to me, it's not about ideology. It's not about Republican and Democrat. It's about someone who is not competent to occupy. When he did what he did in Helsinki, to me, he should have been arrested. But that's just me. That's just little Sean Yoes, you know. When you literally side with, what does he have? His love for Vladimir Putin it's the stuff that love songs are made of. You could have Luther Vandross singing, creating a ballad about Trump and Putin. I mean, you can speculate. You can speculate all day about why he is such a Putin devote. He's the president of Russia. He's a former KGB spy. And Trump is his useful idiot. It's just too much to even talk about. It's too much to talk about. So I know that some of you all on the panel are devotees. I'll say devotees. And I no disrespect, but I mean, do you really, honest to God, think this man is qualified to be in the chair? I don't see it. I can't see it. I don't see it. Hannibal Lecter, you know, what are we talking about here? How can a man qualified to be president of the United States? How can when the region of the country, the southern part of the country, the western coast of Florida, North Carolina, are going through this tragedy with the hurricane. Mm-hmm. And he says Biden didn't reach out to the governors. He didn't do anything. And it's a goddamn lie. And he goes back and he doubles down and says, well, he didn't. How is that not disqualifying? You're literally dealing with a tragedy that has killed almost like 200 people. And you're playing politics? You're playing politics in a scenario where historically Republicans and Democrats come together. They come together and they deal with the tragedy. What the fuck is wrong with him? He doubles down and says, no, he didn't. He tells a bold-faced lie. He says Haitians are eating dogs. He sicks the goddamn MAGA on. I mean, these are people that are in the country legally, that were invited by the state of Ohio to be there. And he decides, well, these niggas are changing the way of life in Ohio. And so I'm going to lie and say they're eating dogs and they're eating cats. And then when the man gets challenged by it, he says, well, I saw it on TV. I mean, how is he the president? How is he qualified to be president of the United States? Get the fuck out of here.
Because he did it for 4 years.
If Kamala Harris was selling gold tennis shoes and gold watches
and Bibles, what
are we talking about? What are we talking about? Come on.
You don't want to buy a Donald Trump Bible?
No, I'm all right. Cool. And I'm cool in the tennis shoes too. And I got a fly watch. I don't want to 100. The watch is 100 stacks, y'all. $100,000 for the Donald Trump watch.
That's crazy.
Yo, so you gone off about 45, but I got to ask you about two vice presidential candidates before you leave. What are your thoughts about them?
Oh, James David, isn't that his name?
JD Vance.
James
JD?
David. What was his original name? He's had 3 names.
Oh, I didn't even know he had 3 names.
Oh,
3.
JD from New York.
It was James David both.
Go Google it.
He's
I
got
had to
3
do
names.
that.
He's had 3 names. But anyway, and he apparently he said this. He said he was gay when he was a younger man, and his grandmother said, "Well, no, that's not good. You can't be gay." And he changed his mind. What vice presidential candidate?
I'm about to go rob something. Y'all know me. I'm dangerous.
Now you got Davante going there and laughing hysterically.
What?
His name is James David Vance, but he was born James Donald Bowman.
Because
And
he
there was
was
another one.
delivered. He was delivered.
There was another one though. He had another name. He changed his name twice. But simple question. Has there ever been a male candidate for vice president that wears eyeliner?
I didn't even know he wore eyeliner, bro.
He
You got Davante getting ready to laugh
Pay
again.
attention. Sultan of Suave. Pay attention, my man.
All right.
Pay attention. Yeah, he's what dude rails against immigrants when his wife is the daughter of immigrants? She's a good-looking girl, but the MAGA hates her. My God. I mean, my God. How does he stand? I don't even know how he can deal with the hatred that his wife is getting hit with because she's brown. Because she's a brown woman. The hypocrisy is unfathomable.
And don't forget, he lies better than Trump.
Well, he does. I mean, which is spectacular. How can you lie better than Trump? The greatest liar in the history of liars. Almost as great as Beelzebub himself. But JD's smooth with it. Look at his wife. Look at his wife. They called her everything but a child of God. And you know it. I'm not. I mean, think about it. The girl said, "Who was the chick? Ann Coulter."
Mm-hmm.
Ann Coulter he said, well, she's the one who said.
Oh, you talking about when she was talking to Vivek Ramaswamy?
Yeah, so it said, "I'll never vote for you because you're not white."
Yeah,
she said it straight to his face.
She did,
and he's like, "Well, I guess he just took it."
Yeah. There's nothing else he could do. He was like, okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. I mean, at least she had the balls to do it, and I mean for real, the balls.
Yeah,
to do it. I don't know, brothers. I don't know.
So let's just say we already know your vote is going strictly straight to Kamala. Sorry,
Kamala. Here we go.
Comma.
Oh no, I said it right. Kamala.
You're right, comma, lie.
Look, man, if you think that I think that somehow Kamala Harris is a perfect candidate, that's not the thing. That's not.
She's just the only candidate, right?
I mean, I don't see me voting for the other cat, man. I mean, I'm asking the question. Look, again, it's not about Republican and Democrat. It's not about ideology. How do you okay, let's break it down like this. How do you lose an election?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay,
how do you lose an election and
the Ravens beat the Ravens beat the Bengals the other day. Close game.
Yeah.
Hard fought game.
Right.
What if the Bengals just didn't get off the field and say, "Fuck that, we won the game"? We won the game. Not we didn't. We contested the game, and they just. I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing. He lost the election, and he said, "No, I didn't lose, and because I didn't lose, I'm going to sick the dogs on you."
Yeah.
And so they came into the Capitol.
They did.
Beating people down.
They was.
Kill some police.
Maybe.
Well, they died.
Okay,
they ain't no maybe. They died. No.
Not maybe.
You might have died.
and then them crackers had the audacity to shit in the Capitol, and guess who had to clean it up? Black people. Black people.
Well, we've been cleaning up things for hours.
Well, that don't make it right, brother.
I don't.
That don't make it right. But so you lose the election, you decide, no, I won, and I'm just going to turn the country upside down, and I'm going to destroy the democratic system or the democratic republic in the process. And that's not disqualifying?
I thought it was been destroyed though.
Well, I don't think so. I
So
don't know.
it wasn't destroyed.
By whose measure was it destroyed?
No. I'm saying it wasn't destroyed when he first started to run in 2015 or 2014. When he first got on the scene.
No.
And was going against Hillary.
Why was it destroyed?
Because he won.
He won fair and square.
Are you sure that was fair and square?
He won. He won the Electoral College.
Okay. All right.
I mean, my head was hurting, but the motherfucker won. He won. No, don't play with it.
I'm not playing with it. I'm not.
He wasn't. No, he won the election.
Okay.
His team executed a plan that worked on that day. He said it himself. He said 9 out of 10 times I probably would have lost that election, but on that day I won. He won the election. I would never. There was nothing to protest. He won the election.
Oh.
He lost the popular vote by almost 3 million, but he won the electoral vote because Hillary Clinton thought that she had black people sewn up in Detroit,
right?
And she thought the same thing. It was another state, I think. The blue wall failed, and that was because she was arrogant. Jim Comey didn't help anything with his little shenanigans at the end, towards the end. But she lost that election and he won it. So there was no democracy held. He won. Shit. But he lost in 2020, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go even deeper. He really lost because of COVID. If it had not been for COVID, that nigga would have won.
But you know what though? This is me putting my conspiracy theorist hat on. I think they planned that for him to do that. Well, they planned that.
They ain't planned for that nigga to say tell people to put bleach in
their mouth. Now that part, yeah, I agree.
They didn't plan that.
Yeah.
We can if you inject some bleach or some light, in or around,
If you was dumb enough to do that, then that's when
people did it. He was dumb enough to say it to the American people. He told the man. He told Woodward during those interviews. He was saying, "Well, Bob, I didn't want people to panic. Here's the serious thing. I lost two very dear friends, two very dear people to me during COVID. 1 million people died, and 1 million Americans died. That number could have been cut in half if he had any level of competency early on. That many deaths could have been prevented, and that's really the truth. He lost because of his treatment of COVID. That's the real thing. He was on his way to win.
I know. He was.
I mean, so it is what it is. But so let me ask you this, bro. What if he loses in 2020? What if he just says, you know what? I lost. I gave it all I had. If he had came back now, he would win. He would have won this year. If he had just played it like a normal human being and said, I lost. I gave it all I had. I did the best that I could, but I lost. I came up a little short. Man, he would have had independence. All those moderate Republicans would have came back to him. It wouldn't have mattered who they would have put up against him, Kamala Biden, whoever. He would on November 5th, he would win that election.
In 2020? I mean,
No, I'm
2021?
talking now.
Oh,
If
now.
in 2020, if he had conceded and just said, "Hey, I lost. It was close. I did the best I could." If he had just shown some class, if he had just done it like a traditional politician, I think he wins now if he had done that in 2020.
Okay.
But he lost. He lied and said he won, and then January 6th happened, and he got jammed up. I don't get it, man.
I
That
mean,
wasn't smart.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Trump is always and has been these last 9. How many years has it been? 8 years.
Feels
These
like
last
9
It,
years.
it,
9,
it feels
8,
like longer.
whatever. He's been goofy. Okay,
Goofy?
he has been. Yes, capital G. Yes, capital G. He's been extremely goofy.
Worse than Goofy, man.
But I see. I'm with them other people though. I don't trust Kamala. I don't. I ain't gonna say a lot. I don't trust her.
Well, I don't know why you trust him. Why you trust him?
Because he's been in the seat already for 4 years. He's already been.
But he literally
did a terrible job.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he
didn't.
Yeah, he kind of did. I mean,
he did, bro. He did.
No, he didn't.
He didn't preside over the greatest economy. That's bullshit. He didn't preside over the greatest economy in U.S. history. He did not. He border crossings are down now. He killed the bill that would. Come on, man. No, he's not. No, What are the policies that were so great under Trump? I don't see what these policies were. I don't know who, but and Black unemployment now is lower than it was under Trump. Black small business growth is greater now than it was under Trump. So all this, I've done so much for the Blacks. All of that is like horseshit. But here's the thing. Ultimately, and I'm gotta go to bed. Ultimately, the most complicit entity in the ascension of Donald Trump is American media. They have every step of the way for 9 years. They have bent over backwards to try to they call it sane washing now. I don't like that term necessarily. But the reality is, he can say the goofy, to use your word, the goofiest shit on earth, and they'll refer to him as unorthodox. Like he's really a legitimate politician. This thing is not a legitimate. There's no other politician in the history of the United States that could get away with what he has gotten away with. And a huge part of it is because the mainstream media has allowed him to do it. How come a politician if somebody lies to you in your face and you know it's a lie, you gonna sit there and take it? No, you're not. You're gonna say, yo, you lying. Get out my face. How come he has the opportunity to tell straight lies and nobody challenges him? I saw Caitlin Collins of CNN one time say to him, he said something ridiculous, and she said, "That's not true. Who told you that?" And this nigga folded up like a damn chair. He fell apart because she pushed back on him in that instant in real time. I've only really seen her and the Australian cat when he sat down with the interview with the cat from Australia. I can't remember his name. He was with not Politico, or it may have been Politico. He sat down for a sit-down interview after Trump became president, and everything that Trump said that was a lie, the cat pushed back on him, and he fell apart. But how does the mainstream media not see it as their duty, as their charge?
But I thought the mainstream media now is starting to fact check like both candidates.
After 9 years, now they're fact checking him.
I mean,
he's been lying. The nigga been lying for 100 years, and now let's fact check. Now there's a month. Now it's a month left. I mean, come on, man, you gotta go. Come on, Daddy. Come on. Now they fact checking him, and he said, and he was going to do a 60 minutes interview, and he said, "Well, I'm not going to do it. You're going to fact check me, nigga. Don't lie. You only get fact checked when you lie. Stop lying, nigga. You won't get fact checked. You won't get fact checked.
I'm gonna let you have that.
What's your
That's a
name?
nice mic drop right there.
My name's Donald John Trump, billionaire. I own a mansion and a yacht. You know, I'm just. That's it.
You got it, Sean. You got it.
Yeah, I'm all right.
You got it.
I'm all right. It's just the West Baltimore coming out of me. That's all. You know, I again, if it was when Obama ran against John McCain,
That was
I
classy.
voted for Obama because
That was classy. That was a classy race.
I believe. I mean, can you imagine John McCain?
No.
John McCain, he literally has a rally and a woman stands up and says, "Oh, I don't trust Obama. He's an Arab." John McCain stops her and says, "No, ma'am. He's a husband and a father, a good American who I just had profound differences with." That seems like it happened 500 years ago. John McCain is not the image of John McCain, the notion of John McCain is not even possible within the Republican Party now. A decent man. If Obama had lost to John McCain, I'd be like, oh, okay, it's cool. You got a good man in place. But look, we honestly, brothers, honestly, I can go on and on about Trump till the damn cows come home.
Oh, I know.
This isn't about Trump. This is about our country is in a bad space, man. Because misinformation and disinformation has really just people believe shit that is unbelievable. On both sides. On both sides. Now, I don't like doing that both sidesism because I do believe that the threat is more prevalent from the right. But disinformation is permeating every political thought and idea that there is out there. And that's a problem. When you can't agree on a set of facts, that's a dangerous thing for any group of people, a country, a state, a community. So even though it's about Trump, it's really not about him. He's taking it. Let me tell you this last thing.
Okay.
Donald Trump is the most cunning man to have ever held that office. And now that's saying something. You're talking about Bill Clinton. You talk about Richard Nixon. You talk about Franklin Roosevelt. You talk about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. The most cunning man ever to hold that office. But cunning is a dual-edged sword, and it can be very dangerous if it's wielded the wrong way. But the other thing is, he's the laziest motherfucker that's ever been in office too. And that's the thing. I mean, the dude. I mean, on a basic level, he didn't come down to work until about 12 o'clock. He had to watch TV in the morning. You know what I mean? Watch Fox and Friends and all that bullshit and everything. And then come down around 12 o'clock, put in a couple of hours, then go play golf.
Don't forget Twitter fingering all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, man. I mean, I don't know. America has a lot of karma they got to answer for. And then he is the karmic symbol. So anyway, so we got one Trump voter. You gonna vote for him? I'm not gonna ask you that. It's your prerogative. I'm not gonna ask
Sean,
you.
do I have to? Do I have to do anything? What do I have to do? Do I have to choose? What am I supposed to do?
No.
You don't have to choose.
Your vote,
Look, I'm an independent.
We also believe in a secret ballot. That's part of civics. Civics 101. We believe in a secret ballot in the United States. So your vote is your business. Your vote is your business.
Sean, I wish that was true for everybody. It's not.
No, it is a secret ballot.
It is, but it isn't. It's like either you gonna be over here or you're gonna be over there. You got to choose.
The country is absolutely. It has never been so divided. I think it hasn't been so divided since the Civil War. And I don't think that's hyperbole. I think that's an accurate fact. But here's the other thing, and I know I'm supposed to go. Trump's whole dystopian, outlook on the country. The country's a rat's nest. The country's going to hell. The country's not a rat's nest. I've been all over this country. I'm a product of West Baltimore. We have our issues, but I live in a beautiful city. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I live in a beautiful city with a lot of really good people. There's some people that aren't so good, but the vast majority of the people in the city are good people. And I go all around the city. I walk through the city. I walk through West Baltimore. I walk through downtown. I walk through Mount Vernon. People aren't getting their heads cut off. People aren't getting blown up by IUD. I mean, this notion that America is a rat's nest is what I see. And I was traveling today. I'm traveling next week out of the country. I was out of the country last month. What I see when I come back to America is people doing the best that they can. And for the most part, people are happy. People are doing okay. We're not perfect. It's not a perfect country. Price of food and shit is too high. Yeah, that's real. But the economy in the United States, measured against the other nations around the world, is doing very well. And that's just the truth. Trump can say whatever the hell he wants to say, but when you measure the economy of the United States to the industrialized nations, the other industrialized nations, we're doing much better. The employment rate, the strength of the dollar, the GDP, all of these things are very, very strong. So, yeah, eggs are high. I'm not dismissing that, but I think generally people, I'm gonna ask y'all, and just tell the truth, be honest. I mean, on average, how are y'all doing? Are y'all okay? Or are your lives shit? I don't think your lives are shit. Y'all on a podcast, having a good time, doing your thing. You got jobs, you make money. I mean, it's not perfect, but I don't think that we live in a rat's nest. Do we live in a rat's nest?
I just want the prices to go down.
Well, we all do.
That's pretty
We
much.
all do.
They ain't going down no matter who in office, Sean.
Salt and a suave. You living in a rat's nest, brother? Are you in a rat's nest?
Look, I done did more traveling this year than any other year, so I've been blessed, brother.
Bingo. What does it say? What do they say? Winner, chicken dinner. Cravante?
I'm doing all
right. You living
man.
in a rat's nest, brother?
No, sir. I'm doing all right. Maintaining, brother.
My man. Rat's nest, brother.
We making it work. We're making it do what it do. That's what we always do as black people. We survive no matter what.
Big Raj.
Yeah.
You living in a rat's nest, brother? Is it a rat's nest?
I never lived in no.
All right.
No.
That's all I wanted to hear. That's all I wanted to hear.
Sean, how can the people keep up with you and what you're working on next? I know you got a couple movies you mentioned, documentaries.
So we're gonna show. I've been working with an organization called Collectively. It's headed by Jamie Wooten, and it's a Black philanthropic organization with a multi-million-dollar budget. It's unique in the United States, and we're working on 4 short films with the theme of Baltimore's legacy of Black liberation. And in February, we're going to show all 4 films, one a week. There's going to be I won't call it a panel discussion, but a forum that I'm going to lead with each film, talking about different themes. So I'm very excited about that work, honoring Billy Murphy, the internationally acclaimed lawyer, Joe Carter, the people's champion, leaders of a beautiful struggle, and a great internationally known artist named Joyce J. Scott. So all 4 of those people are making films about their lives and their impact on our community. So that's what I've been working on very feverishly, as a matter of fact. So that's what's happening. So in February, all that will come out, and then next year is going to be very interesting. I'll leave it at that. I can't talk about all that stuff yet, but we're not in the rat's nest, though. I'm not living in a rat's nest. No rat's nest.
Sean, we appreciate you, my good brother, and Gotta have you back after all this plays out in the next couple of months. See what
Y'all kept me up way past my bedtime, man. I told Dre, I was like, man, I'm operating on no sleep.
It's my fault, man. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's not your fault. I'm not. You got my adrenaline going, so now I gotta watch.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Got him fired up about 45. We see
45.
Sean, we appreciate you staying up late, brother. Get some rest.
I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
One more time, give it up for Sean Willis, everybody. Doing big things always, and always supporting us here, Stand Up Late on the Flex Zone podcast.